muutama paikka järjestäjille, mutta se seuraava ei ole. Okay, hello everybody and welcome to the competition seminar of the architectural competition for the Museum of History and the Future in Turku, Finland. My name is Ville-Matti Rautjokki and I'm the manager of this museum project. This event is taking place in Turku Castle, which is situated right next to the competition area. This event will be recorded and can be viewed via the competition webpage until 16th January 2024. Today we are going through the content and objectives of the competition. We are going to hear some interesting speeches, and after the seminar, those who wish and are present here in Turku can join to a walk in the competition area starting at 1 p.m. At the end of the seminar, I will give you some further information on this walk. I would like to remind you all that all questions concerning the competition should be left via the question form found on the competition webpage. So those of you who are following this broadcast online, so you have the direct link on this question form found on the same window you're watching this broadcast. So we are going to collect all the questions and we'll publish them and all the answers at the same time on the competition webpage in the beginning of November. So this is the procedure today. So here's the program for today. Soon we will hear some welcoming words by Minna Arve, Mayor of Turku and Chair of the competition jury. She's currently on a business trip in London, so we will hear her greetings as a recording made in advance. And then it is a turn for Timo Hintsanen, Director of Urban Planning from City of Turku. He's going to tell us about the content and objectives of the competition. After him, Paula Keskikastari, City Planning Manager from City of Turku, tells us about the plan situation of the competition area and the surrounding environment. Next is a turn for Claudia Auer, architect and member of the jury appointed by the Finnish Association of Architects. And last, it is my turn to tell you about the museum concept and facilities. And the seminar will be ended by 12 o'clock. And then you all have some time to have a lunch, and then at 1 p.m. we are gathering outside the castle walls beside the main entrance. So from there we are heading towards the competition area. Okay, but that's the plan for today. And our first yes.
Dear attendees to this competition seminar for our Museum of History and Future, very warm welcome on my behalf to this seminar. This project is very inspiring and it's very dear to me. But anyway, it's about how we transform our beloved city in exciting ways, how we will use this city's cultural identity to build a new neighborhood where this museum will be one of the shining stars, but not the only one, because next to it there is Turku Castle, and of course the environment as itself is also very beautiful and unique. I'm really sorry that I can't be there in person. I'm in London currently, and I'm attending the London Real Estate Forum, where I'm actually having the privilege to discuss about this, how art and culture shapes our cities and how they significantly influence the well-being of our residents. And it brings me the great pride to note that this very project has garnered international attention in these measures, and Turku's deliberate investments in promoting culture have not gone unnoticed. In recent years, the city of Turku has made significant strategic investments in culture to strengthen our identity as a European cultural city and as an attractive tourist destination. The Museum of History and Future will be one of the cornerstones of this cultural revival. For me, the city is about layers: history and the future. When I'm standing on the banks of the Aura River, I'm reminded of the profound wisdom of the Heraclitus. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he is not the same man. This sentiment resonates deeply with our city, for Turku is an ever-evolving entity, shaped not only by its rich history, but also the visionary aspirations that drive us forward. I want to think that our clear and robust vision is one of the most crucial elements to ensure our thriving future. For an old city like Turku, being the oldest city in Finland, it's very important to recognize the history and its layers, but it's also very important to look forward to the future. And like the river, cities as well as Turku is in a constant state of flux. And we recognize that it's through bold vision and transformative projects like the Museum of the History and the Future that will continue to shape our city. The Museum of History and Future will be the symbol of our commitment to culture, a symbol to our dedication to preserving our heritage while embracing innovation at the same time. And that's what it makes so truly exceptional, is not just its purpose, but its kind of canvas on which the masterpiece will be painted. In the future, Linnaniemi will be the year-round center of urban culture, where history, the sea, and the world's most beautiful archipelago, as well as the pleasant environment, will offer an unforgettable experience. When this visionary project comes a reality, the Museum of History and Future will stand tall as one of the first new buildings in this rapidly regenerating area. And it will be the cornerstone of transformation, breathing new life into this once asphalted field, turning it into a comfortable and attractive part of our city. And what I'm very, very excited is the idea of the area to be the first art neighborhood in our city. And I think that art, the urban spaces, public spaces, and this Museum for History and Future will be supporting the community building in our city. And I think that there will be an exciting possibility to explore how urban spaces, public spaces can support inclusivity in our city. This will be also a unique museum center. The new History and Future Museum, alongside Turku Castle and Maritime Center Turku Forum Marinum, will serve as a magnetic force drawing both city dwellers and tourists to this area. And it will be the place where the history comes alive, where innovations and culture converge, and a new landmark to greet especially those who are coming to Turku by ferries from Stockholm. I see Linnaniemi as one of the key areas in the development of the whole city of Turku. And the aim is to extend a dynamic urban life toward the port and to enhance Turku's maritime position and connection to the world's most beautiful archipelago. As a city, we have set an ambitious goal to be climate neutral city by 2029, when we are celebrating our 800 years anniversary. And that's why the museum should be designed and implemented to be as climate resilient as possible. In addition, circular economy perspectives, utilization of urban green areas, and enabling biodiversity will be encouraged in planning. The competition area is part of nationally valuable landscape area. Turku Castle is one of Finland's most important historical sites. The area is thus a unique gem with our cityscape, bearing witness to centuries of history and culture. The past should whisper to us, guide us, and inspire us to create a museum that is not just a structure, but a living embodiment of Turku's cultural essence. In conclusion, I want to stress that architecture competition is not just about constructing a building. It's about constructing a city where culture thrives. It's about harnessing the unique history and cityscape of this place to create something exceptional. And it's about bringing our residents together, feel the place to be for them, not only for tourists, but for the residents of Turku. I thank you all for being here today, and I eagerly anticipate the ingenious designs and ideas that will emerge from this competition. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you all taking part in this competition and looking forward to those ideas and visions, how you will create our Museum of History and Future. Thank you. Dear attendees to this competition.
Not again. So, Timo Hintsonen, it is your turn.
Okay, good morning and welcome. It's so nice to see you all here attending the seminar. We are very proud that so many people are interested to get acquainted with the architectural competition. I will tell you about the backgrounds, some words of backgrounds of the museum and the objectives of the competition. Quite the same things our mayor just told you in very essential points. First of all, as you heard, we are the oldest city in Finland, and at the same time we feel to be a very modern and European city. And that, in a way, explains the name of the museum as well. We are the city of history of Finland, and we are also the city of modern development in the country. Background for the choice of the site for this competition, I tell some words about this. The castle used to be in a very important location in the city in the 17th and 18th century. But the environment has changed quite a lot. In fact, in this picture you can see the castle situating on a island and in a very strong serenity in the cityscape. And now we have chosen to build this museum on the site next to the castle. And what is important is the waterfront. In fact, 2011, when Turku was the European capital of culture, we noticed that people found the waterfront, the public spaces on the waterfront, to be a scheme for cultural events and every kind of culture. So this was the start, in a way, to find and notice that our riverside and waterfront is the place for our culture. About 5 years ago was published the vision of the center of Turku, and again we strengthened the idea of the cultural hybrid development of the waterfront. And at the moment, already the construction of the new music hall has started. Our House of Music will be situated on the waterfront in the middle of the city, close immediate proximity of the city theater. And this is, I think, the essential picture. There are the cultural buildings which are situated on the waterfront. Many of our museums, music halls, and any kind of public buildings, including culture, is situated on the waterfront. And on the orange circle is the place where the museum will be situated. And what is important, that most of the buildings are on the riverside, and now we are extending to the sea and archipelago as well. This is in fact the first cultural building in Turku that reaches to the sea. So it's in that sense also very important, and the existence of the seafront is important part of the site. And in that case, in that sense, the connecting the city with archipelago is one of the ideas of the location for the museum. And this picture you have seen several times already today, the site of the competition and the surroundings of the competition area is very and the location of the castle is not in a very fantastic place at the moment, because it is surrounded by the traffic areas all around the castle. Now I go through the objectives of the competition as mentioned in the competition program, in a way a little bit more explaining about the background. The first objective is to take account on attractive site, respecting the valuable environment and its history. And that doesn't mean that you have to be too humble. Of course, you can create something new, but you must all the time remember that the new project is discussing with the castle which importance in the environment is extremely important. There's also a picture, a painting from the 19th century from the opposing island, where you can see the important and majestic role of the castle in the past, which is something that we are willing to see in the future as well. By the way, the distances in the city are like the castle is from about 3 kilometers from the city center, and more than 3 kilometers from the cathedral, which is maybe the other most important landmarks in the cityscape. Around the castle was made landfill areas later in the 20th century, and there's, for example, this picture from the 1970s, which shows what it was when there was most buildings and the largest areas for the traffic to the port of Turku, and especially for the ferries of the going to Sweden and other Baltic cities, Baltic Sea cities. Then the other, of course, is the museum as a part of the cityscape. There you can see the preliminary master plan of the area, which is by the group that won the ideas competition for the overall area, where when the exact site of the museum was decided. again, the big change in this area, what is reason why we now can make a big change is that we are building a new terminal which is mutual for all companies, all ferry companies. And it is the new ferry terminal is situated on the cross side, and all the traffic for the area is coming from the north, not anymore along the riverside. So this makes gives us the freedom to make a new plans for the whole area. And we already had the competition for the ferry terminal, and in fact it's the construction of the terminal is about to start at the moment. This is the vision of the winning entry. And there again you can see what is the large area which is free for other uses in the future. And we arranged an international ideas competition for this area, all this area which is surrounded by the castle. And the winning entry looks like this. The group who made this proposal had decided to make a large new park around the castle, extending to the riverfront and also to the seafront. It's a very important thing on this case. And on this proposal, you also find the new location for the museum, which is by the seaside, but it is also by the park side. It is connected to the sea as well as to the park of the castle. We are talking about Linnanniemi, and in fact you can translate that something like Castle Peninsula or something like that. That tells if you wonder what is this Linnanniemi, but it is just the name of the place and translated like that. And there are some views of the preliminary master plan for the area, which has been by the winning entry architects of the ideas competition, and what is most important is that it tells about the atmosphere of this area in the future as well as the scale of the future. And again, the very important thing is this green area around the castle. In a way, this green area will be a place of events as well. So it will be very interesting to see what kind of ideas we are going to have for the landscape competition, which will be arranged later after this museum competition. The landscape competition for the green areas will be arranged next year, starting next year. And I would like to emphasize one thing is that in many visualizations you can see this kind of pool close to the museum. In fact, the museum, in a way, kind of framework for museum is on the right-hand side of this building. Then there is this pool, but I would like to emphasize that you shouldn't make too dependent on this pool, because there's no decision to build this museum. So if you are willing to have a view for water, it should be maybe mainly to the sea, because this kind of pool is very expensive, and we have certain money for the project. So you have to be careful with making too dependent solutions. They should be more generic. Then this picture maybe tells about the liveliness of the area as well as we want to have a very open museum that attracts people, also those people who are not visiting the exhibitions but just visiting also the the museum other facilities during the weekdays and weekends. Then the third objective for the competition is the space for new types of museum activities. We are hearing about this later more when Ville-Matti tells about the concept for the museum. But what is important that this is not going to be a traditional museum, but a new way of thinking how people can find the historical things, and as well as how they are connected to the future. There has been some master theses in Aalto University, for example, this museum already, but they are just telling about maybe the scale and the atmosphere, what is and openness, which is wanted for the museum. And of course, we are making all this together with people living in the city, as well as those who are stakeholders for the projects. And as Mayor already said, climate resiliently built museum is one of the big objectives. And this is not just the building itself, it is the surroundings and the connecting neighborhoods. As I told, we are wanting to have very open museum, and that also includes the idea that the open spaces around the museum are connected and active in the context. And the fifth of the objectives is the accessibility and the safe, smooth mobility to the museum. As I told, the distance 3 kilometers from the city center is a little bit challenged, and we will have to make it attractive also to have a smooth accessibility for the area. Water buses, we are going to plan a tram system reaching out to the Linnanniemi Castle Peninsula area, and of course we have also our electric bus system connecting the area. But what is important, the walkable and reachable place by bicycles as well. The riverside is very secure and place at the moment to walk, and we are also willing to reach the idea to the pedestrian environment to the museum along the river from the city center. So we are wanting good architecture for this area, and I would like to say thank you and good luck for the competition. Thank you.
And the next speaker is Paula Keskikastari, City Planning Manager. Go ahead.
Good morning, and nice to see you all, and also welcome to all you online listening to this presentation. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the planning situation, how we see this area in the city plans. And let's see. Now, first picture is the current master plan. And now I have to start with explaining what the word master plan, because we use it in another way as in Timo's presentation. The master plan here means the overall plan for the whole city. And this is the old situation, and here you can see the gray asphalt areas, which used to be, or how we see now, are like history, that they are now going to be changed to other use. And here we see the proposal for the new master plan. It has been already passed through the city's decision phases. Sorry. I hope my voice is right. And anyway, you can see the red area here around the new museum is the city center functions are expanding towards the sea, and the area for the passenger traffic is a lot smaller. This is how we see the future, and this is just the really overall sketch for the whole city. And then there are restrictions, of course, which you might already know, but there is big risks for floods, both from the land, from stormwater, and also from the sea flood area. We don't have any tides here, but anyway, the sea level rises, especially when there is a storm. So that's something you have to really work on. Then other things to consider on this area is there are many valuable and things that you have to consider. There is the valuable landscape area along the Aurajoki River. It's nationally significant built cultural heritage area as well. And there are valuable buildings, protected buildings, or buildings that need to be protected. And also we have recognized some important views, and they are marked with the light blue lines here. Like when people are coming to Turku from the sea, they can see the Kakolamäki Hill and things like that. And then there is the red dotted line, which marks the need for outdoor routes along the River Aura, especially. That's very important. And the next slides, I'm going to show you a little bit about the changes that are now happening in the city plans. The first one is the ferry terminal area, which is marked here to the north of the museum and history and the future area, which is larger than only the museum site. So something about those now. The main goals for this ferry terminal area has been, of course, bringing together the new terminals and or the two terminals that we now have, and like making it the whole area much better. And actually, you can see on the next slide the maybe the important thing is that the traffic will come from the north in the future. So it will free this area around the museum and castle from that heavy car traffic that it nowadays has. There's something about the planning process for the ferry terminal area. So there was also an architectural competition for the terminal in 2022. And the plan has already been approved for this area, and so it's right here. And the winning proposal you already saw on Timo's presentation. Oh yeah, here is the picture of the traffic routes, which I was already telling you that I just want to give you the impression that we will now have the heaviest routes going to the north. Also the railway will move away, and it's a big thing to this area south of the castle. And one more picture from ferry terminal city plan, which of course is very closely linked with this our area. And there will be a pedestrian route to the waterfront from the ferry terminal, and this is a way we want to attract also the tourists coming from the ferries. Because now it's not a very pleasant area to walk around. And an aerial view from And then we come actually to our case, getting closer. And here you see the proposal draft for the city plan for the Museum of the History and the Future, which here is like the purple area, the purple square is the museum site, and around it there is, of course, the big green new park to the east of the museum site, and then the orange areas, or actually I'm telling you them a little bit more later. I just first I'm going to read the main goals of the area. We want it to be a vibrant and multifunctional area. It should be an attractive environment for services, events, experiences, and leisure. And of course, the gem in the area is the Museum of History and the Future. There will be a wider park between the castle and the river, like I just said, and the public art will be a part of planning and construction. And mainly, we want to secure the role of Turku Castle in the landscape. And these pictures are also from the winning entry for the planning in the area. And here is something about the process, how it has gone so far. In 2020, we held the international idea competition for the whole area of Linnanniemi. And from that, it has developed into a draft plan 2022. And we have been working together with Afterparty and Sitowise. And now we are on the third dot. We are arranging an architectural competition for the museum. And after this competition, we will have another competition for the landscape around the castle. So there will be a landscape competition, landscape architecture competition, actually. And now we come back to the plan proposal draft. The museum is there, and then you see the orange areas. They are commercial and office spaces, mainly because there is noise coming from the harbor, and we want to protect the residents from that noise. So it needs to be mixed use, and can be restaurants, boat and ship traffic facilities, museum, maybe something else, exhibition spaces, and so on. And the light brown blocks, city blocks there is already some housing on the top of the northern block, and we want to extend that same scale, or a little bit maybe bigger, but anyway, the same type of harbor village feeling in that Makers District block, which will be commercial, office, and housing. And that's how it is presented in this competition. So this it will affect the decisions in the city plan. Then the traffic, as I already said, that the pedestrian routes by the waterfront are very important. Then the blue lines mark the buses routes, and black is for cars, which we don't want very many cars to this area, because we want it to be a nice area for walking and experiencing the area. And the tram lines are marked with red lines. So now I come to the final picture. It's up to you how it will be in the future, and we will finish the city plan. But of course, the restrictions that are marked in the program, competition program, are. I hope you read them carefully. Thank you.
And now it is time for Claudia Auer, architect and member of the jury appointed by the Finnish Association of Architects. She's going to tell us about the assessment judging criteria for the competition. But I forgot to mention that both Timo and Paula are members of the jury as well.
Yes, welcome on my behalf. And I want to thank the City of Turku for organizing this competition. It is really a nice thing for architects that we have this, that architects have these possibilities to make such a nice project where everything, all the pieces seem to be on the right place. And I also want to congratulate you already for this future museum. And also the idea of organizing a museum that is a museum of history and future is a very interesting combination. And I think this is very essential for the architecture of the museum and for this competition. So there was already a lot of pictures. I choose not to have so many pictures. This is to my colleagues then to propose their ideas. I have just made kind of a text about what the assessment is about. This competition is really about high architectural quality. This is seldom a competition where this is really the most important thing. But here, this museum will form an important landscape, landmark, and so the adaptation to the cityscape and the urban structure, as well as architectural solutions, are the most important assessment criteria in this competition. And of course, then there is functional solutions of a museum that also is part of the architectural quality. But of course, City of Turku also needs to have reality to this project. So economic efficiency, preconditions for meeting life cycle targets, and ecological aspects, especially if you're thinking about the museum for the future, are important assessment criteria. And last but not least, enhancing cultural appeal. This museum is part of, we have seen many public buildings on the riverfront. And it will be kind of an end of the pearl of chains along the riverside when we have the cathedral in the north, and in the south towards the sea we will have this landmark of the museum. And I want also to talk about the architecture. We have seen the proposals for the ferry terminal, and if you think about this museum will be a landmark, so this is really a question how you act with this museum as landmark, that not the ferry terminal is the more important landmark on this place. How does this work? No, I have some technical problems. Joo, mä painan, mutta... Se laittuu. Sinne. Tai jotenkin ei. Onko se kaapeli tässä? Please excuse me. Täällä on jotain kaapeliongelma. So,
No,
we have lost connection.
yes.
Tää on jotenkin.
So the pictures are changing here, but
Yeah.
not there. So
Yeah,
it's a
it's kind of
problem.
stuck, this picture.
We have some technical problems here, but we will solve them very soon. Sorry about the delay.
We don't have connection. I'm very sorry.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
You can continue.
So we have seen this picture many times already here, but of course the most important question is here. We have the museum site here and the connection to the sea, and then the Turku Castle. This is really the crucial point. How can we create, or how can you create an attractive architectural landmark that also forms a kind of logic and pair to the Turku Castle, with the Turku Castle. So adaptation to the cityscape and urban structure. Of course, you need to create an harmonious cityscape and urban environment. Is kind of the first assessment criteria here. And for creating and providing an addition to this riverbank, pearl of chains of public buildings, and forming this kind of lively endpoint to this riverbank area. And then the Turku Castle as key aspect. So high quality overall architecture approach, and also the placement of the building on the plot, like massing and scale, structuring of outdoor spaces, and natural connection to the shoreline, as there will be also this ferry connection to the city center. Second, architecture and functional solutions, functionality and clarity of the overall solution. Is what kind of spaces does this museum create, the indoor architecture, and what kind of flexibility and what kind of new museum spaces you can come up with. This is a kind of new museum concept we are asking here for. And of course, always with a public building, this kind of entrances, how is the entrances organized. There is many sites you come towards the museum, so where to put the entrances and service connections, as we have like a public area around the museum, but there is like heavy traffic needed towards the museum, and how you manage that so that there will be really a positive outdoor area completely around the museum. So this museum doesn't have any backyard. And of course, Museum of the Future, ecological aspects could also be part of this, or should be part of the architecture. Then also assessment. We will have this economic assessment, and we have also assessment of sustainability and further development of suitability for further development. This will be an alliance model, and there are like questions of feasibility and maintenance, of course, will be in the work with the alliance very important. And then last but not least, the enhancing of the cultural appeal, like Turku and the identity of the city and the potential of this proposal, how we can like increase this Linnaniemi area, what kind of landmark you create, and what connection to the city's architectural, cultural heritage you can create. So these projects should also very much like reflect Turku as a city and its identity. In the assessment procedure, it's kind of, we are following the leads of the Association of Finnish Architects, how we assess these architecture competitions. There will be, the entries will be divided into a lower, middle, and upper class, and part of the upper class will be then award category. And for the upper category, there will be done like a further assessment on sustainability, how it fits the sustainability goals for Turku for 2029, and also a comparison of costs. The jury will also do models of the award categories, so there will be about like 10 to 20 models maybe done. And in the end, the jury will like make the evaluation report, where would be like get information about the competition assessment. And we will make like verbal assessments of the proposals from the upper class, and it depends on how many interests we will get, but I hope, or we all hope, that we will get lots of interests, so there will be a numerical estimate of the other proposals. Thank you.
Okay, as I said earlier, my name is Ville-Matti Rautikivi, and I'm the project manager for the Museum of History and the Future project. I'm quite new in this role. I started in the beginning of September, but I followed these projects for 3 years, so it is quite familiar to me already. I'll start my own part with a modest summary of the whole. We are not making just a museum, we are making the first museum of history and the future in the world. So Turku is Finland's oldest city, and we are celebrating our 800th anniversary in 2029. And according to the current plan, the museum building would be ready in the same year, 2029, so that we could open the museum to the public next year, 2030. But in the future museum, the stories of Finland's oldest city and its people will come to life and increase our understanding of the past and the present. The museum will combine new ways of storytelling with experimental presentation methods used in science centers. The museum functions as an open meeting place and a platform of many kinds of activities. The museum is not just a building, but it expands beyond its walls, opening up the historical layers of the urban space and presenting interesting historical events. The Museum of History and the Future looks at possible futures through history and boldly examines history from the perspectives of the future. The museum is an actor of change. It offers new, surprising, and multi-voiced perspectives on the past, present, and future, building a more sustainable and just world. The main exhibition produces a new understanding of both historical changes and possible futures, as well as people's lives in the midst of all this. With the creative application of the future thinking and methods, a versatile perspective on the surprising nature of the lives and the continuities and breaks of changes is produced, as well as strengthening the future skills. Actually, the most important content goals of the museum is to strengthen people's future skills. And this applies to the museum's entire content production. And the content of the exhibitions is produced as a result of widest possible cooperation. We are going to use all types of collections. The exhibition makes extensive use of all the collections of the city of Turku, from the cultural historical objects to old and contemporary art, and all the way to the science collections and information collections. And new acquisition can be made if necessary. The main exhibition strives for a multi-sensory touching and immersive exhibition entity where the latest research knowledge is combined with new presentation techniques, meaningful audience engagement, and multi-channel content that extends beyond the museum. The goal is the experimental nature and learning by doing typical of science centers. The services we are offering in the museum are divided into museum services and supplementary services. The museum produces interesting and high-quality content packages which are built around the main exhibition and temporary special exhibitions. Thematic productions consist of exhibition media, virtual and event contents, and they are implemented in a broad-based cooperation. Audience activities are responsible for guided tours, museum education, and events. And customer service offers information and guidance, sells tickets, and ensures a smooth experience for visitors. Then to the supplementary services, which can be very relevant in terms of how the museum will succeed in the long run. Our museum will have a relaxed cafe and where you can eat your breakfast in the morning and have a cup of coffee in the afternoon. A high-quality restaurant which is open from lunch until late evening when the exhibitions are already closed. Flexible and progressive performing art spaces and technology enable performing arts, events, seminars, and business events. In the studio spaces, researchers focusing on themes of culture, society, history, and future studies, and experts from creative industries can work together. This is the preliminary design brief, and with this picture we wanted to roughly show how the sizes of the different spaces vary in relation to each other. The spaces for the main exhibition and temporary exhibitions are the largest spaces in the future museum. The total surface area of the museum will be about 7,000 square meters. In the design of the museum, special attention should be paid to these needs: versatility and adaptability of spaces, clarity from the perspective of visitors' experience and in internal logistics, museum safety, including fire and burglary safety, as well as museum conditions, sound and noise absorption, as well as acoustics, ecological aspects, not only in this building, but the whole area, life cycle durability, and in regard to material solutions, to the transition to the circular economy, durability and maintainability, and, if necessary, renewability. And then realization of equality from the perspective of accessibility. The main exhibition space of 2,000 square meters and the temporary exhibition space 1,000 square meters are the largest spatial units in the building, as I already mentioned. The facilities meet the requirements set for museum conditions, that is, humidity, lighting, temperature, and of course sound and noise absorption, as well as acoustics. The clearance height of the exhibition spaces must be at least partly a minimum of 5 meters. Open space that can be grouped and modified with easy-to-move wall elements or built-in wall solutions. The possibility of mounting directly to walls, floors, and ceilings. Floors that allow for installation with comprehensive electrical and telecommunications cabling underneath. The surface materials must be repairable and durable. And the exhibition spaces must have a clear access to the elevator, the exhibition support facilities, and the loading platform. The exterior of the building is, of course, important, but at least important is the first view of the interior when entering the museum. The entrance or entrances to the museum, lobby, facilities, and visitor service facilities must offer a memorable architectural experience. Part of the lobby comprises museum shop, information desk, museum's office and storage, control room, cloakroom, visitor toilets and space for prams and push chairs, lounge area. Then the lobby connects to the admission-free entrance spaces, which can also be closed off if necessary. Multi-purpose and showroom space that serves as a showroom for partner and citizen content, event space, and do-it-yourself workshop. The auditorium and presentation space is a versatile space utilizing new technology and is suitable for performing arts, meetings, lectures, and as a celebration venue. Particular attention should be paid to the following. The space that can be easily opened into and closed off from the lobby. Ideal ceiling height is 6 meters. The option to darken the space, flat floor, flexible flooring in the stage area, retractable seating, and then special attention must be paid to acoustics and soundproofing. The facilities of the partners include the museum's restaurant and cafe, as well as modern work and studio facilities suitable for creative professionals. The restaurant and cafe facilities are bright, modern, warm, and inviting. They use the same kitchen, but separate spaces have been allocated to them. In the high-quality and experimental restaurants, customers can enjoy good food in good company. The cafe, clearly a separate independent entity from the dining area, is a low-threshold place where people can sit and relax. The restaurant and cafe must have their own customer entrance, which enables them to be open when the museum is closed. The personnel will have access to a multi-facility office, staff facilities, as well as a creative meeting room and break room. In addition to working, the personnel facilities enable social encounters that support a good work culture as well as allowing for decompression. These facilities must be accessible without passing through public spaces. Then technical facilities and maintenance facilities must be sufficient. In the plan, the museum has a 2,500 square meters extension option. The planning must indicate where the possible extension would be implemented in the future. It should be demonstrated how the extension would be integrated into the museum, its functions, circulation routes, and functional outdoor spaces. The plot design must include plantings and space for artworks. Lindniemi area is going to be the first art district in Turku, so there's going to be a lot of public art, both around the building as well as connected to the museum's construction project. The museum's surroundings and functional outdoor spaces must offer pleasant, sheltered, and sunny outdoor space for leisure, gatherings, and events. And this was all for my part, but I have to say, we, especially in the museum, we are eagerly looking forward to your proposals to the competitions, and we are quite sure that we are making an excellent new museum and a cultural destination in Turku. Thank you very much. So, this is all for the official part of this seminar. We have plenty of time, have a lunch. When you go outside in the castle courtyard, we have actually a restaurant here in the castle, so it is on your left when you go outside, so you can have a lunch there. But at 1 p.m., we are going to gather where the red dot is, outside the castle walls. So there, we are going to gather at 1 p.m. and head towards the competition area. So those who wish to come to the walk, so we'll meet you there. But otherwise, thank you very much, and thanks for joining us today.